What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. At this point, the Lakers are delusional for even thinking something like this. You hear all these reports about the Lakers should consider trading LeBron James and all this stuff. And it really started with Stephen A. Smith, his opinion based upon the situation and what he thought or what he thinks about how the situation should go or what the Lakers should consider. I think it's delusional. I don't think it's something that we should even really, focus our sights on at this point in time, because, the Lakers are still trying to win a championship and they're still trying to make this operation work that they started along with LeBron James and Rob Pelinka and everybody in the organization. And even Magic basically saying that's a far-fetched thought or anything like that. It's just ridiculous. The Lakers should definitely not trade LeBron James. I could see why the thought would be, considerable in some people's minds, because maybe you can get more back for what his value is right now, because a year or two from now, his value will be very, very minimal compared to what it is now, because he won't be the prime scorer that he is, and he won't be putting up the same amount of numbers, and injuries might creep in there a little bit more as well, seemingly the way it has in the last couple of years, with LeBron James over time. So I can see why some people might even consider that, but to me, it's delusional because he's the only thing you have that's going for you right now. Even though he's old as he is, even though he's always in the media, in the spotlight, he's always been the face of the NBA, of course. But even though he's still those things, if you ask me, to a degree, because even though the Lakers have lost so pitifully the way they have, nobody downs LeBron James like that. Nobody talks, nobody's really, people still talk about the Lakers in a way like they could have won a championship this year, or they could have been such much a better team if they were healthy, knowing that that really isn't the truth, because they didn't have no defense and Anthony Davis stays hurt and Russell Westbrook doesn't fit, but people still have that delusional thought as well. So with that being said, it's even more delusional to think that you should trade LeBron James and get what back? What are you going to get in return? What are the players out there worthy enough trading for him right now when he's your best player on your team and he's one of the oldest players on your team? If you trade away LeBron James, they have no chance of winning a championship, if you ask me, not unless they got back a mega superstar in return for him. But that's not going to happen, because mega superstars, they already are where they are. They're not going to, jump ship to come there unless it was just some really type of good deal that benefited everybody or both sides. And that's not going to happen. So I just think these reports coming out about this is just not right. And like I said, why would you trade away your best player on the team when you're still trying to win a championship? You got 3 top 75 players on there. You got all this wisdom on there that they were talking about last year, the Hollywood roll out the red carpet type players on there. If you got all that on there, then why trade away your best player when you're still in contention or wanting to win a championship and think that this team can win one? So it's just utterly dumb. There's no way possible they should ever do that, because the Lakers, not only would they be a more of a worse team without LeBron James, they wouldn't even be considered a thought, let alone an afterthought. So it's just utterly dumb to even think things like this. This guy played so many, he played more minutes, I think, than most players his age, around his age group have. He scored more points than anybody I think his age ever has. He really showed that, age is nothing but a number. And I'm not the biggest LeBron James fan, but I got to give him credit. He did put up a lot of points. It did equal out to nothing because it was a bunch of empty calories. I'll give you that. And I've said that before. All the points he put up was good, but it didn't amount to winning. But at the same time, he can't carry a team the way he used to. He can't do the things he used to do. He's not superhuman like that anymore. Now he's mortal. Now he's just a regular human. He's not the player he was, and he shouldn't have to be, because if you got Anthony Davis and you got Russell Westbrook, he shouldn't have to be the hero all the time. But that's the problem. Having those type players, they got names, they're top 75 players, but they're not playing like it. They're not playing at that level. And it's sad to see somebody like LeBron have to play at that level just for them to possibly win. I can remember about a month or two before the season was out where LeBron was dropping 30 and 40 a couple of games where he played, but it took about 40 for them to even come close to winning games. And they did finally end up winning one or 2 games, I think, that I looked at, but he had a monster game each time. And this is my point. He shouldn't have to have a monster game for them to win a game. That's not going to get the Lakers anywhere. So my point is, you can't trade your best player. Now, if LeBron turned into your 3rd best player by now and he wasn't, the player that he is, or still didn't have the scoring ability that he has, the way that he displayed it this past year, okay, maybe it'd be more considerable then, because LeBron would be the 3rd best player on a team and he's not even remotely close to what he used to be, or something like that. Then I can consider trading LeBron if you think the operation isn't going to work with him, because it's not like he's the forefront and the face of the franchise. Still, he would be the 3rd guy on the team, not the first option. And right now, looking at this team, he's always going to be the first option until he really can't score anymore, because you can't trust Anthony Davis. And that's just the truth. You can't trust Anthony Davis. You can't trust what he brings, because you don't know when it's going to come. And like I said, it was the same thing with New Orleans with him. He had all the talent in the world, showed that he can be a franchise player, showed how great of a player he was, but injuries always crept up on this guy. And that's always been his thing. Luckily for him, he played with LeBron James in a bubble where a lot of people were vulnerable. A lot of people didn't want to be there. A lot of people were not for that lifestyle. And they lucked up and got a championship because, luckily Anthony Davis stayed healthy in the bubble. I mean, I was surprised at that he stayed healthy that long. Maybe it was the Kobe Bryant thing, God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant situation that motivated them the most. And I really truly believe that's what it was, because I've never seen Anthony Davis stay healthy that long. So, I mean, that's the point. It's like, you can't trust Anthony Davis. I mean, you really can't. After that championship, Anthony Davis really has went down. His numbers in a lot of ways have went down. His gameplay has went down a little bit since that championship, because he hasn't played with that same type of aggression, that type of mentality since. And when you see him play some here and there, you see signs of, he'll score, he'll have a 30-40 point game, an explosion game here and there, but it's not consistent enough for him to be the number 1 guy. So you definitely can't trade LeBron just in that aspect all alone. So I mean, I don't really know what else there really is to look at in a situation. And then if you want to point to Russell Westbrook, the fall guy, basically, West Brick, as a lot of people were saying about him after Skip Bayless, were making those gestures about him and everything. You definitely can't count on him, because he doesn't even have the step that he used to have as far as getting around people and exploding the way he used to. And even if he does have it, he can't use it that much, because it's not, he's trying to figure out his way to help this team win a championship, something that he never was able to do on his own or with any other superstars that he played with. So, I mean, he's just all in a world of confusion. And the Lakers just themselves, I mean, they're relying on guys like Austin Reeves and people like that. That guy, he's a good young player, but he shouldn't be a name that's even spoke of right now, because they're trying to win a championship. He should just be a really good role player, and that's it. And, that's the problem. A lot of those other guys got more exposure this past year as far as who they are and what they do, because the Lakers was so bad. They had to have somebody to talk about other than LeBron James on there, because Anthony Davis wasn't around, and Russell Westbrook was just the laughable fall guy. So, I mean, it's like, Malik Monk and all them, they got some good young pieces, but the young pieces they have don't override the older pieces that are around, that's hanging around. Avery Bradley is a lot older than what he was. He can't defend at the level he used to. He can do it at times, but Avery Bradley's not the defender he used to be. Trevor Ariza isn't the defender he used to be, and Carmelo was never a defender. And then, they went in the season talking about some Kendrick Nunn and how he could have helped them in the season. Kendrick Nunn is a really good role player, but he is not a life changer. He is not a game changer. So I don't ever want to hear this notion about some Kendrick Nunn, like he really could have helped the Lakers save their season. I mean, you should have listened to some of the delusional stuff they were saying on TV about, this team during the season, whether it was analysts on ESPN or whatever the case may be, or even analysts even calling the game. It was just very, very disturbing to hear. I mean, Kendrick Nunn is not going to make life changeable for the Lakers. The Lakers don't play no defense. I don't think somebody like him is going to make life better. So, I mean, collectively, they need to just use all their young pieces, get rid of a lot of the old ones, get some fresh blood in there and get some fresh legs in there so they can try to make a run, or maybe even, at least make the play-in tournament. Because you got to understand, if you're not even good enough to make the play-in tournament, and this day and age, you're a really trashy team, because that's a second opportunity to even make the playoffs when you're like a 9th or 10th seed. The Lakers couldn't even do that. So, I mean, there's a lot they have to change. And I can tell you, LeBron James isn't one of the options they need to change. They need to keep him there because he is the forefront. He's still the face of the franchise, and he's still the best player on the team. So, I mean, that's sad to say at his age, but that's just what it is. And like I said, them thinking of trading LeBron James, or if that thought is even out there on any sites like I see, and for Stephen A even saying it is remotely just blasphemy as a word that he would use. So I mean, no, that's not going to happen. Just stop with the reports. Let the Lakers do what they do in the offseason, see what moves they make or moves they don't make, and see what next season brings. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.